Hello everyone, it's Friday once again, so it's time for edition 75 of Artisan Weekly. It's been a great week here. We had the third Laravel London meetup where we had a couple of really great speakers. We were lucky enough to have James Brooks from Laravel, but also we had Frick from Spatsy, who came over and gave us a talk on the top 10 Spatsy packages, which was really great. It was a really good turnout, and it was great to see so many people there. So on to this week. It's been another good week, some really good content, and let's kind of dig into it and go through it all. So first this week, we've got Eric Barnes over at Laravel News. In this video, Eric runs through kind of the work that went into the streaming and the kind of live streaming at Laracon EU that just recently happened. I don't know if you watched that. But Eric and the Laravel News team were there, and they were going around interviewing people, doing the breaks, doing the lunch hour, to make sure that people who were watching on the stream had some content to continue throughout the day. They did a really good job. I was lucky enough to kind of be interviewed. So Eric kind of goes into detail here about the things that happened behind the scenes, how it came about, and the kind of effort that goes into doing this kind of thing. So it's really good to kind of see, and Eric does a lot of work for the community, so it was really nice to see him there, and it was great to see the work that kind of went on. Next up then, we've got a post by Roberto. Now, believe it or not, I used to enjoy running, and of course I had a running device, a Garmin, and I never really did anything with the data, just uploaded it to Garmin and kind of looked at it there. But I always wondered, like, maybe I could grab that data and do something with it myself on my website. Well, Roberto goes into a bit of detail here on how to decode that data from your watch or from your, the device that you're using, your GPX data, and then how to do things with it. So interesting one, because obviously as developers we love data. So it's nice to see how he kind of went through, decoded that GPX file, broke it down, and then how he wrote the PHP to be able to handle it. So if if you're a runner, or if you're into sport and you use one of these devices, give this post a read, and maybe you can do something with that data. Next up, then we've got James Second over at Vonage, and in this post he's talking about managing PHP extensions with Pi, which is the new kind of extension manager. As a PHP developer, you would have surely come across Peckle before. Well, Pi is the new version. So in this post, he kind of goes through in detail, and he writes his own extension. So he creates a native DD extension. He kind of shows you how to do that. So if you've been wondering, and maybe you'd like to write your own extension, give this post a read. It'll be worthwhile. Next up then, we've got a post on the Laravel blog by Pascal. So it's he kind of talks about the Inertia v3 beta that's being released now. I mean, it only feels like yesterday that v2 was released with some really great features. Well, now v3 is on its way, and I have to say, after seeing the things that Taylor demoed at Laracon EU, it looks amazing. So there's some really great features coming. So Pascal kind of goes into some detail with these. If you're an Inertia fan and you're looking forward to v3, give this one a read, because you can kind of see what's coming. Next up then, we got this post by Matt Rothenberg. Now, you might have your website is hosted on a server that might not have certain extensions installed and things like that. And we know that, when you share your articles on social networks, having these open graph images can be quite impactful. So Matt here, who works at Cloudflare, he has put together a post to show you how you can use Cloudflare workers to generate your OG images. Now, this will help certain people who might not be able to do things like, I believe Laravel Cloud, you can't install a certain extension which will, that will allow you to generate these images. So you could use this method to generate your open graph images. So it's worth a read if you're limited by the server that you're on. You can generate kind of images like he's showing here, which will of course help when you're sharing your articles on social media. Next up, we've got a post here by Stephen. This is the first of two for this week. Another security tip about validating your config at boot. So he kind of talks about how in some applications he's seen different ways of people validating if config items exist, and he kind of gives you an idea of actually where you should be doing this to make sure your app is as secure as it can be. And he talks about doing this in your boot method of your service provider. So yeah, I mean, if you've not read any of Stephen's tips, I would recommend heading over to his website, because he does a lot of security tips, and they're really good. He is often putting out articles that will certainly help you as a Laravel developer to keep your application secure. Next up then, we've got an article here by Steve King. Just Steve King or Steve McDougall. So he talks about his new API starter kit. Now we know Stephen is a huge API person. He does a lot of work on APIs, things like that. So he's put together his own starter kit for Laravel. And in this post, he goes through this, kind of outlines how to use it, some of the things in the kit, etc. So if you've been thinking about starting a new API and you're looking for a good starter point, give this kit a go. When you go to the repo, give it a look. Maybe it could be your kind of go-to from now on. And then next up, we've got this post by Pete Bishop, who he decided to go to Laracon EU last minute, so it kind of goes through booking the flight night before, and then just turning up and going to the events, like the Mostly Technical pre-party, which is a really great event. And then of course, the event itself and the people he met, and the kind of that feeling he got, like the family feeling of the event. We were there, and it was a really, really good event. The team really enjoyed it, but that sense of community, being able to chat to those developers, things like that, which was really, for me, was the big thing about it. You can't beat that by looking at, by watching it on a live stream, but obviously being there is worth it. So if you get a chance next year to go along, I really do suggest that you take that opportunity and you head to the event. Next up now, we've got Josh here over at the Laravel YouTube, and he's talking about the preview environments with Laravel Cloud. Now, another really great feature that they rolled out. So you might have those instances where you're working in a feature branch and your client says, can you deploy that somewhere so we can take a look at the work, what's happening right now, things like that, give you some feedback. Now, up to now, you would have had to set up if you're using Forge, you would have had to, set up a new site on Forge to deploy that branch, etc., etc. There's a few steps you would need. Well, now with Cloud, you can completely automate that and deploy any branch you want. You'll get a custom URL that you can give to the client, and they'll be able to do the work to test it out. Now, it's a really, really great feature. There must have been a lot of work to go into it. And yeah, if you're using Cloud and you've not got this turned on, I really do suggest doing that, and hopefully the clients will benefit from that. And then next up, we've got the last one here, and that's another post by Stephen Reese Carter. Another security tip about your JW tokens, why they might be forever. Now, again, give this post a read. There's probably things, particularly you might have done when you've been implementing these things, and he goes into detail here about why and how to fix these problems. Again, as I previously mentioned, he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to security. So if you're not subscribed to his newsletter, give it a go. And there's some really good tidbits he sends out on a weekly basis that will help you keep your app secure. So that's it for this week. It's been another good top 10. A bit of security, a few things about Laracon EU, which is a really good event that just happened. And yeah, hopefully there was something that you enjoyed, and if there was, please do reach out to the speakers, to the creators of those articles, and let them know that you enjoyed reading it. And if there's anything that you've got that you would like to kind of get mentioned next week, drop me a message. Follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter and let me know. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thanks.